Yeah, I've never recorded it. Who even cares? Everyone wants to look at the top of my head. Right, where do we start with this? Come on, let's go through the kind of the process. Logan, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. Then what's the question, Sophie? What's the question? Yes. For Orsino, love is only about performance.
Why?
Why? If it is, why is it? Is that our gut response? Are most of us going, on the whole, yes it is? Yeah? And if it's not, why isn't it? Harry's instantly going to come in with I completely disagree. I think there's not a single performative aspect of Orsino's behaviour. But we'll leave him for now because I think there's more evidence to support this one, and we'll let him write the essay he wants to write. Okay, so Alex, pen, ready to write it down? There you go, there you go. Right, okay, so AO5, which bit of the question is predominantly AO5? Which word? Phoebe? Nope. Ellie?
Probably for signal.
No.
Love.
No.
Only.
Only. Love is only about performance because it's saying, well, is it about anything else? And if you know, that's where a weak student will go, yes, it is only about performance. And then what would a weak student do next? What would they do next? What would their essay contain?
Only one side.
Only one side. Well, I'd be lucky if I got a side. But instead, what would they do? What do weak students do in this part of the exam?
It's right about everything.
They write about, they just show me. Here is an example of where Orsino is performing. Here's another example of where he's performing. And if I'm lucky, and here's an example of where he doesn't perform. Right? But that's not both sides, is it? There's nothing being debated there. It's just a description. So it's staying around. It might get into band 4 if it's done well, but if you don't engage with that, you can't have a central line of argument that's going to be pulled through. So for those of you who went with your gut of, yes, what is it about Orsino? What is Shakespeare doing with that character? What is he showing about love if he's always linking Orsino with performance? What kind of lover? Beth, what kind of lover is Orsino? Begins with a P, you know it. A Petrarchan lover. Right, so that's important, isn't it? Petrarchan or courtly, overly romantic. How do we first meet Orsino? What's he doing? Piper? Oh, if music be the food of love, play on. He's pining, isn't he? He's all being, oh, I can't believe she doesn't love me. So how we are introduced to this character tells us certain things. So why would Shakespeare open a comedy with Orsino acting like that? Let's have a think. What is he encouraging us to do? Alex?
Laugh at him.
Laugh at him. Yeah. So one of the reasons is that Shakespeare is encouraging the audience to mock the literary tradition of the courtly lover, the Petrarchan lover. So there straight away, if that was our first point with all of our examples, we are letting the examiner know that we understand that Orsino is not a real person, he's a character. Yeah? Can anyone think of another reason why Orsino can only link love with performance? What else is kind of going on there? Holly?
Because he's trying to woo Olivia through Cesario by performing for her if he doesn't have the opportunity to be personal.
Right, I'd say you're halfway to the point there, Holly, that's good. So what Holly's done is rather than tell me the why, she's thought, well, it's his chief method of wooing Olivia. He gets Cesario to perform for Olivia. Because what does Orsino not understand?
That love can't be rehearsed.
Yeah, that look. So it's about the kind of perform. He doesn't understand what real love is. It's all about performance, isn't it? So that could be your second why. This shows the danger of, not the danger. That's not what I want to say, is it? What do I want to say?
Artificiality.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Sam.
That confused me for a second.
Okay, good. And if not, where and why not? Where in the play might we see him not performing in relation to love, and why might that be? Holly?
I was going to say that he does, sometimes he doesn't perform, but it's unconsciously, because he's an unconstant lover.
Right.
He tries to perform, but sometimes
Can you give me an example of that?
when Vesta says about his awful mind and everything.
Right, so one of the things that we know about Orsino is that he is inconstant, not unconstant, inconstant. Right, okay. And that's in 2-4 with Feste, isn't it? But what else happens in that scene? Who does he have a conversation with? Yeah, Viola. And what's that conversation about? It's about love, isn't it? Is anybody else watching that? Apart from the audience? No. So is there any performance going on there? What happens in the RSC version of that scene? They kiss. Right, okay, so it's looking like we've got something approaching an essay plan. Yes? We've got some whys, but I don't think we've got a why for this one. What allows him to stop performing there? What is it, Ellie?
Well, what you said like yesterday was like the homosocial bond
Right.
between them, and then like link it to Ennis, but like Cesario's still a servant, and then link it back to Ennis.
So one of the things that we could talk, I still don't think you've nailed the why. I think, again, like when Holly gave her answer, I think you're halfway there. But one of the things in terms of AO5 here is that Emma Smith and what she says about the homosocial or the homosexual bond would be relevant to this question, wouldn't it? Harry, do you want to?
I was going to talk about the shifting affections to Viola and the importance of the reciprocity in that.
Right, so here, if one of the reasons he performs is because love is artificial, it's suggesting that the love that he has for Viola is genuine, so he doesn't have to perform. Yeah?
It's also like when those metaphors about a disease and Melody, that they kind of stop around that time.
Right.
I think that there's a lot in the first couple of acts, and then once he's kind of shifted those affections, that stops. It's almost like he's being cured of this.
Because it becomes
performance
more pure.
Yeah, so you could argue that, okay, it's performative up until that point, but then it's that he's cured by that.
Okay, that's good.
Education.
That's good. So far we've got the RSC, we've got Emma Smith. Just with what's on the board. Sorry, go on.
So would you say the why for inconstant is because his love's shifted to
Yeah, it's shifting and it's more genuine. There isn't that need to perform. Right, lovely. Any other A or 5 that you could fling at this? Alex?
I know there was another one that's not the RSC is the one that we watch. one
The-
that's-
The one with Stephen Fry is the Tim
Yeah.
Carroll
and then
production.
the RSC is the other one that we watched last week.
The RSC is the one where we've watched little clips of them and then performing it and rehearsing it.
Yeah, that one. That's the one I'm thinking of. So
Yeah.
I think so.
And then the National Theatre is the Simon Godwin one.
I can't just around them because I can't.
Tell me your point though,
I
because
was just
we.
going to talk about the case film and how that's like the productions, but the production that you're talking about is the one I was thinking of. I just didn't know.
Okay, all right. But do we see in any other versions them being. What happens in the Tim Carroll version in that one? They don't kiss, but do you remember they're sitting on a bench, kind of facing away from each other, but they get a bit nearer and then he takes a hand and kind of pats it a little bit. So there's like tension building up between them. What else was I saying about Act 5 and I'm saying Malvolio then, and Orsino and performance? Sophie?
In Act 5 in the Carol and the National Theatre production, he mistakes Sebastian as Viola.
Yes.
So you could see that as him trying to perform rather than being genuinely loved.
Yeah, or rather being misled by others' performance as well. So maybe a very nuanced way of looking at that question would be to say it's not just about his performance, but how other people's performances affect his interpretations of love. It's a good idea, Sophie. She's good sometimes, isn't she? Little Soph sits there all quiet. So, is or affected by others' performances of love. And you talked about kind of kissing Sebastian there, or taking Sebastian physically. I'll stop talking now. So glad the camera's on. Keep stepping back so they don't have to sit there. Oh, I could do shadow. No. Focus. Focus. I'm thinking about Act 5 when he gets violent. What was I saying? What does he give as his just, what should I do if I had the heart? What does he say after that? To kill what I love, but to kill what I love, like, where's he learned that when you're spurned in love, you should get stabby? Where's he learned that from?
Greek things.
Like the Egyptian thief, so it's a story. It's like everything he knows about love has not come from real life, but it's going back to what I was saying here, to mock this literary tradition. Like Romeo, kind of, oh no, she's rejected me, Rosaline, so I know that what I must do now is pine. What does he do at the end of Act 1, Scene 1, when he's feeling sad?
He says he's sad and he's like, I need to go lie with like, I love thoughts like Rachel and Kathy hours, and he's like talking about like sliding
Yeah.
flowers.
Yeah, I'm really sad and I'm in love, so I better go and lie in some flowers. Like you lot, when win yourself a bubble bath with a lush bath bomb and like watch some Bridget Jones. It's just a cliche, isn't it? So not only is it performance, but it's very cliched. Where does the accent go? Anyone? I know it's on the E, but like, I know, but which way? Like that way?
Yeah.
I had a 50-50 chance, thanks Jessie. So we could talk about that aspect of performance as well. What frees him from performing? If we say that his act of potential violence is his last act of performance, what frees him from that? What a good question.
Finding that Viola was performing,
So,
which is what I was saying about him playing off everyone else's performance rather than his own.
yeah.
Because it's when he backed up there's Sebastian as well in the equation, and naturally Viola is.
So the revelation of Viola's
Viola-
true identity,
The Viola is naturally Cesario.
yeah,
She's actually-
allows him.
That allows him to like. Yeah.
I like that. Why haven't you written it down? I know I'm mocking, but sometimes he's worth listening to. Beth?
He's like allowed to love the person he wants to.
Yes. Yes, and what does Viola do? When he's...
Returns
what does she offer to do for him? Die, sacrifice herself. Now, you could argue, this is not my view, that, you know, that act of sacrifice is the ultimate act of love. To me, it's a little bit twisted in this play. There's a big difference between me, you know, if I sacrifice my life for my children, but at this point, we remember when she offers to make that sacrifice, she's not Viola, she's still Cesario. But it's kind of it seems like sacrifice, and then the revelation of identity is doing something interesting there. Oh, my board's got messy, hasn't it? So, freed from performance. It's to do with sacrifice. Now, watch how I spell sacrifice, because it's the right way. Sacri, not a. Lots of you like to put an a there, or an a, as we say at sixth form. Sacrifice and revelation of identity. He doesn't have to perform as a courtly lover because he can just be a lover. It's quite a nice way of thinking about it. Alex?
When you're saying like how is he free from performance, you could say that like the seeds for that when he actually starts to actually talk to somebody, when he actually talks to Viola and actually talks through stuff. The reason he loves her is because of the fact that he's talking to them, like understands her.
Lovely.
He doesn't have to perform because there's nothing to like in the other for Olivia, he's performing love because he thinks he has to, because he thinks that that's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
He's doing love for the sake of love. But for Viola, it's because he actually loves her. He's
Yes.
actually spoken to.
Because we've talked about that power of language and communication in love in this play, haven't we? I mean, what he's impressed with there again when they talk is Viola's story of her sister who pined away because of love. Again, another aspect of sacrifice, isn't it? That kind of appeals to him. Beth?
in a way, she almost teaches him. I thought maybe because he's like realizing because he babbles on about how men love.
Yeah, and she says, well,
And she gives it, and she's like, wait, no,
Well,
she actually questions it.
well, she actually says men's love is performance. You act this way, but actually it's women who genuinely feel it. So, okay, I think that's enough to be getting on with. You have a choice now. As a minimum, you are going to write me another essay following your November assessment. You're either going to have a go at this or the one that we've just annotated together. And this will be due in next Tuesday, with everyone thinking, how can I just make it a bit better? But to end this lesson, everybody now is going to have a go at writing an introduction to that essay. That's your last activity for today. and then tomorrow we're going to move on to Paradise Lost, Doll's House, because we still haven't gone through your November assessment of those questions, have we? Awesome.